Yeah, no, the only reason... Okay, I'm recording now. Because the only reason I'm recording now, because the last time we did we talked together, and then I uploaded video, I got dickheads in the comments like, well, the actual topic started at this time. I'm like, oh, why? You don't like our fucking conversation, then? Fuck you! Alright, fine.
Yeah.
Piece of shit. Piece of shit.
It is why my videos are super edited, so people cannot complain, oh no, you're just going around the topic. If I did a podcast, my Badabur series will be probably 47 hours long.
Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Yep.
Yeah, no, because the one thing I wanted to get into a little bit, it was a little bit planned later. But then again, this is gonna be like recording while I have another video uploaded for today. Not gonna, I don't think it's gonna be successful, but that's just me because I just found a revelation. But I'll upload it after this. But yeah, no, we're just gonna talk about like some people just have this misunderstanding about like even the word Grimdark itself, and then having a misunderstanding about Warhammer 40,000 and all that. And yeah, no, I was gonna ask you about like what do you think like the word or the definition of Grimdark is, and how it should be portrayed, or in Warhammer 40,000 or in other sci-fis? Because I got my own definition to a certain extent, but hey.
By itself, the word Grimdark might seem like a simple concept to understand, but it really isn't. By itself, a Grimdark kind of world, like it is in Warhammer 40,000, by description, is a world mostly dominated by very dark events, with very little hope left in the world for good things to happen, with very little good events actually happening. But generally, still enough that the universe doesn't become just a depression fest. Like, if nothing good can ever happen and all you know is just fucking depression with no kind of level of light, you pretty much just described the comic series Crossed. It is just that. It just becomes... removing the Crossed is technically actually gore porn, because it is a comic that mostly focuses on gore. It is just a very shallow, extremely shallow story. Like, some writers gave it some depth by trying to give some depth to the evil of the Crossed, which are the equivalent of zombies of the Crossed universe, but it is more like if you're infected, you lose completely all kind of self-control. Yeah, humanity. Pretty much everything you do, you do it because you want to do it, but at the same time you have no conscience to stop it. So like, I want to assault someone, you will do it. You want to cut somebody in half, you will do it. The moment you are infected, your humanity itself goes out of the window. This means that pretty much the entire world is just covered by these people. And yeah, imagine a zombie apocalypse, but more in Mad Max in style, with just crazy people trying to kill you, but if they actually touch you, you become one of them. And yeah, if you just remove all kind of hopes for anything, any kind of good events, and you just leave the darkness that there can be in a universe, you pretty much get Crossed, where nothing means anything because the world is already fucked and such. In my definition, at least for the stories I love the most in 40k, Grimdark is a universe where the events are mostly dark, depressing, and bad, but where people still struggle and have the hope that things can get better. Like, just by description, generally, I would like cite Rin's World as a very good Grimdark book, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Rin's World is a book about the Crimson Fists, and it is pretty much just a small military operation that causes an entire fucking orc wag to actually go off planet and assault the world of Rin, which is the chapter on world of the Crimson Fists.
Yeah.
Now a lot of stuff happens, the orcs start invading the world, killing its people, war pretty much breaks out on every city, because it is technically not an eye world, it is an agri world. And like, even then there is like a very big blow to the Crimson Fist, which is a bit of a lamenter moment, if you ask me, where when pretty much the fleet, the orcs, arrives in orbit and starts assaulting their fortress monastery, they stop the bombardments with voice shields and such, and then turn them down just to shoot back at the orcs. One of the missiles they shot back was a surface-to-orbit, melt-headed, armor-piercing torpedo. And yeah, and what happens is it reaches orbit, it stops propelling, It starts falling down again, so it comes back. While it is falling down, it starts getting propelled again. It hits the base of the fucking Fortress Monastery, digs into it, enters a fucking ammo cache of the Crimson Fist. It explodes, and with it explodes the entire fucking Fortress Monastery. And half the chapters blows up in a few seconds. From like 550 Marines that were in the Fortress Monastery, only 12 survive.
Yeah, casual stuff.
Yeah.
Low casualties for Space Marines.
Yeah, and even with these events, like, you get the aftermath where, like, Marines are emerging from the rubble, a captain, like, the captain, if I remember right, of their second or third company, Alessio Cortez survived, the chapter master Pedro Cantor survived, a lot of people are dead, even humans that were in the fortress. And all they do is, okay, we are kind of fucked here, so the best hope we can have is reunite with our other forces in the city, so let's just get the fuck out of here before the orcs start landing. And they start exploring, they find human survivors, save some lives. At one point, like, there is the perfect scene, in my opinion, for Grimdark, is the scene where the Crimson Fist save a woman and her, I think, 4 or 5 children from the orcs. And, like, they tell her, we cannot actively help you because technically we are fucked too, like, it was night. The Crimson Fist have blue and red armor, so the moment the sun rose, there will be easy targets for the orcs. Like, the rope was reaching the forest before the sun rose on Rains, because they will be hidden by the orcs then. And, like, at least, like, Pedro Cantor, from what I understood, I don't know if it was him ordering it or, like, Alessio Cortez actually suggesting it, but the Marines were walking very slowly just to let the woman keep up, because she was, like, leading her children behind, those that could not walk fast, she was carrying and such. And, like, after almost an half day of march, she just collapses, like, she just falls down. It was almost dawn, so the Crimson Fist just stop and look at her. Then, like, Pedro Cantor... while one of the other Marines was like, oh yeah, finally we can leave them back and, like, just walk fast because here. And like, Pedro Cantor, Pedro Cantor, the chapter master, just walks back the line, reaches the woman that was collapsed on the ground while her children incited her to get up and start walking again. Like, Alessio Cortez was like, okay, yeah, he's going to kill her and them so that they don't get taken by the orcs. And there is probably one of my favorite quotes ever from a character in 40k that really shows how Grimdark really works. Because Grimdark is not just, oh my god, bad shit happens. It is bad shit happens, but you're still fighting against it. Pedro Cantor goes, you have been very brave and very strong with what you've done for your children, trying to protect them and carry them to follow us to safety and try to protect them from the evils of the orcs. You have carried them this long. Now it is time that someone carries you. And he just takes her up, like, embraces her in his arms, and just lifts her up. The other Marines take up the children that cannot walk, and those that can walk are led by the others to, like, pretty much run, because it was almost dawn and they were near the forest. And by the end, like, they managed to reach it. They managed to reach the forest, get to safety, save other survivors. So, like, by the point they are almost at one of the city, they have, like, hundreds of survivors following them. So, like, yeah, Grimdark Monsters, by definition, when it comes to 40k, is interesting because it is dark events that still have a bit of light in them. Not that much that it becomes Grimdark Hopeful, which is 40k now, which is very annoying in some cases because it has become very badly written. And but it is still enough of an hope that things can get better so that people can fight for something meaningful. Because if you're fighting to survive, you're not fighting for something meaningful, you're fighting just to breathe. If you're fighting for something better because you know that you can achieve something better, that is completely different, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much it. The one thing I do like with Rin's World is the chaplain scene, where one of the Marines was just, like, injured and shit, and and Chaplin was just asking him a question, and because he hesitated, he just puts his fucking crow's ears into the wound and is like, why are you hesitating me? Do you have any doubts? And then, yeah.
No, my favorite part, to be honest, of Rin's World is the part where Alessio just loses an arm in a fight, and the arm actually is thrown at the chapter master and makes him actually fly, because like Alessio was dueling with an orc knob or whatever the fuck. It was not the war boss, but almost. and Alessio just like comes running after the guy tore away his arm and reached the chapter master and kills him. And the chapter master goes, okay, yeah, but now get on the elevator. You need to get up because you need medical attention. And the guy was like, no, I don't need medical attention. Alessio, you just lost your arm. You need medical attention. He was like, no, I didn't lose it. It's there, and just indicated with the other arm, the arm on the other side of the. I imagine just put him on ice. We can deal with it later.
Now that's to a certain extent good writing, out of all things, man.
Yeah.
Who would have thought the old shit being good? Shocking. Nah, it must be the new ones because it's popular for the sake of popularity. Oh, that's.
I have seen like a post about the new book that is coming out for like the new campaign Armageddon or whatever the fuck it is. I really don't care by this point. Games Workshop fucks up so much shit. I don't really care. But it was like, oh yeah, the Grey Knights, I don't know if it is true or not, but like, the Grey Knights actually lure the Black Templars and the Space Wolves on Armageddon again, because on Armageddon, like, after the Savlar Chem Dogs, like the Penal Legion, not the regiment, the Savlar Chem Dogs and half the Steel Legion have actually fallen to Khorne. There is the Khorne forces on Armageddon again. There is Angron that is charging again on Armageddon. Like they lure the two chapters just to have them fight pretty much as cannon fodder while the Grey Knights deal with Angron. And like Angron gets killed 2 times. Like he gets killed, he comes back from the warp and gets killed again. Like, what the fuck? And removing that, oh yeah, lure the Black Templars and lure the fucking Black Templars and the Space Wolves that already fucking hate you to the guts for the Grey Knights and the Inquisition. That surely won't have any kind of bad effects when they find out that you fucking use them as cannon fodder.
I mean, to be fair with Black Templars, I made a little discovery that. I'll mention this here before I upload. Before I start uploading the video, I made a discovery that Warhammer 40,000 has no canon from the start. I made a discovery where I'm just looking like one of my buddies just mentioned it, and it's like, oh yeah, no, like if you think about it, Warhammer 40k didn't have canon from the start or established lore from the start because it just retconned over and over again, where it never set a ground basis of what is established lore. And then I looked back and I was like, oh, fuck. Because almost every single edition since Rogue Trader has been nothing but retcons. And now you mentioned Black Templars that were introduced in 3rd edition. And then around 5th edition and afterwards, there's been nothing but fucking retcons. Especially in 8th edition, where they were just like hand-holding with the Eldar during the escape of Cadia. I had a little bit of a fit on that, as usual, because I'm like, what? Death to the mutants, the heretic, and the alien. Hello, and now we're just hand-holding with Eldar. It doesn't make sense to me, really. So, but then again, it does make sense now why GW and Black Library authors just make whatever they want, because there's no really canon from the start. So it's kind of. I mean,
it would make sense. It would make sense, but you have to consider still that there is a thing called the lore Bible that the writers still get. It is from what I understood, it is like a shit show because it is very shitty directives with no depth and no explanation. But the fact that you get a lore Bible, a canon Bible that they have to follow, and there is stuff mentioned on that Bible that they cannot insert in stories and they cannot mention in stories, still means that there is some kind of canon that Games Workshop wants to apply. Removing that, the concept that there is no canon because everything was retconned, there is a difference between a retcon, a universe expansion, and a correction of events. Like, generally, when it comes to a retcon by definition is changing a story that was already established, because pretty much you wrote yourself into a corner. And the only solution you had was, in fact, retconning it, because, like, it wasn't something you could clarify, it wasn't something you could correct, it wasn't something you could expand upon, so you pretty much wrote something you cannot ever change again, and it is like stopping you from expanding on stories you already had in mind, so you need to retcon it, so then lightly or heavily, it depends on the cases, to change it definitely, just so you can do other stuff. Now, that is the definition of retcon, but the fact that, like, it was mentioned that some stuff was changed, yes, there was stuff that was retconned, but there was also stuff that was expanded, there was stuff that was introduced, there was stuff that was added later, but by definition, the fact it was added later or was clarified later, it is not a retcon. Like, if we go by definition of retcon, just to make a practical example, female custodians, 100% a fucking retcon. There is proof that wasn't how it worked. There is proof that by definition they cannot exist. There is even like general proof for how it works that this retcon doesn't make the custodians viable as a faction. Because oh my god, they can have women, yes, but the problem with the custodians is that the recruitment pool, before like I hear like the dumb stuff that was introduced in 9th edition, because in 9th edition they introduced an expansion to the lore of the recruitment. Yeah, in 9th edition there was an expansion to the lore that I find the funniest shit ever, just for how I imagine it, because it was like, oh yeah, but the custodians, when they go out on missions, they can bring back children that actually impress them while they're on mission to try and induct them into the program to become a custodian. Now, removing that, okay, this is totally completely fucking new, and even like by lore, there isn't actually that many fucking custodians going outside of Terra. They started now because of Gilliman, but still there isn't that many. The majority are still on Terra, so good luck getting viable women from other planets. But removing that, the concept of this retcon is the stupidest shit ever, because you have to remind yourself, the custodians recruit toddlers. So I'm like, how in the fuck is a toddler, 1, going to impress a custodian, 2, in what kind of fucking context, and 3, how? Like, generally, how? Like, and from that moment came up a meme that I still do in my own Facebook group of heresy posting, which is, okay, then it is official. Some planets have gladiatorial ball pits for toddlers, just for the custodians recruitments. Like, and I imagine these fucking toddlers, are you not entertained with like a balloon sword? And, like, generally, it is how I imagine it. And this is a 100% a fucking retcon with no seeming explanation to it. But there are other kinds of retcons when it comes to stuff that simply didn't make sense with the universe. Like when you're expanding, like, oh yes, the Black Templars were introduced in 3rd edition. Yes, technically it is not a retcon, it is an expansion of the universe, because it is something that wasn't known before, it is compliant with the lore of 40k, and it is introduced later, so it is an addition. But like, when you take something like Ilian Nastase, which was the Alfeldar Ultramarine of 1st edition, the fact that it was retconned out...
Fucking spoilers.
Fuck. Yeah. The fact it was retconned out, technically, is a good thing. Because with the mindset of the universe, he was an half-Xeno abomination that should have been killed before he was even born. So how in the fuck, 1, was he between humans, and 2, was he a fucking space marine? So, yeah, Games Workshop, yeah, we fucked up, he doesn't exist, and just quietly retconned him out, so...
Yeah. Yeah, but the problem is like, even though, you know, as you said, like, they have the Bible, they're canon, but the question is what type of edition they consider themselves as quote-unquote canon. Because in Rogue Trader, they say, oh, their lore and shit is canon, and then Rogue Trader got retconned because of 2nd edition. And I think the problem is that they don't build the ground foundations, which you can, to a certain extent, retcon for later, because they kept changing so many things. It's kind of like those things where if you change parts of the boat, is it the same boat kind of thing? So if you change almost every single edition or every single 3 editions to the point that it just becomes retconned, it also adds another attribute of why should people care, read, or know about the lore if it's got to change completely a year's couple later? Fem Studies is the most obvious one, but they have changed a couple things even before 8th edition as well. Especially with the Black Templars. You know, like the John Blanche image with all the fancy stuff on it? The weapons, the armor, the flags and all that?
Yeah.
Every single detail in that image has been... I've been obsessed with that image because someone mentioned it and now I'm just hyper fixated. Every single detail you see on that image that was silently canon until they got completely retconned because the Black Templars in later editions, like 5th and afterwards, got a more standard issue. So things that weren't mentioned in that image and that was technically canon, it became retcon. Anyways, my point is that GW and like Black Library authors never really established the ground foundations of Warhammer 40,000. So thus, they were able to change things over and over and retcon things over and over again. And then it just never had a set canon. And there was another argument that I heard. It was that, like for a good example, like Primaris, like, oh, it ruins the established lore. But in order for you to acknowledge established lore, you have to acknowledge all the way back to Rogue Trader. Because if you acknowledge, like, quote-unquote, 3rd edition is the true 40k, I've already acknowledged myself in the video that I did say that, and then I had to correct myself, that, 3rd edition is the true 40k. Well, that's a bit hypocritical, because we know they all started from Rogue Trader. So it's kind of hard. it's kind of hard to see 40k has canon when they kept changing the whole thing. It's like adding a rock and replace a rock with nothing on the bottom and just throw a house on top of it. That's what it seems like with 40k, and it's kind of it's very weird compared to like other IPs where they're like, all right, this is our ground foundations, these are the factions, these are, what they're running with, that's it, And if it's a retcon, it's probably going to be like something small. Unless they have to do like a whole reboot and then change the whole faction identity itself. But with 40k, it's completely... yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, like, generally, yes, I do agree that they have done a mess. But I think that the more we go forward with the editions, the more stuff got established that then stopped changing completely. Many of the things are like specifically when it comes to Marines and such, like the specific events of the Horus Heresy that they now expanded upon, but mostly, if you ask me, they shouldn't have expanded upon.
Same.
But like generally they have done a mess in the past, but I think like they have managed to at least establish a basic groundwork that they are not touching anymore. I hate the Primaris like with all my being. I don't like their addition. I don't like the way they were introduced. In my opinion, like as I explained in my video, the Primaris mistake, I was more of the opinion that they should have found a way to purify the Gene Seed and bring it back like to the 12th book of the Horus Heresy that came up long before, and pretty much make them new edition like Raptor Marines, just purer Marines made with a purer strain of Gene Seed, more stable, a bit superior, but not that much, and pretty much just an excuse to upgrade pre-existing, very dumb-looking models like it was. Yeah. But the fact that they went full-on Primaris and pretty much just started evolving the universe of 40k in the wrong direction just killed any interest people had in the faction, for the simple fact that, oh yeah, do you see this? These are Space Marines. Now we have Super Space Marines. Yeah, like kind of a dumb concept. Like superhuman warriors. Now we have superhuman warriors, and it is a very much a symptom of very poor oversight when it comes to the lore and when it comes to the evolution of it. But generally, the fact that they have stuck with the side of like, oh yeah, the Astartes are like this, they behave like this, they believe this, they are armed like this, and like they don't have women and such, they are created like this, they are chosen like this, and such, makes me think that they are trying to give at least basic canon to 40k, because as I said in my video on the female Space Marines, if you don't have a canon, there is no fucking reason to be interested in anything you're creating. Like, what I'm taking up a book, what am I reading? Is this canon? Is this not canon? Is this like fan fiction? Is this something is this the porn fantasy of somebody when it comes like to CSGO 2? Like, what the fuck am I reading? If there is no canon, like Gav Thorpe said, then what justification do the books have? Like, why should I give money to Games Workshop if there is no canon?
There is also one more element as well. Like, as much as you want to like put the rules and these is canon, I think the most important one is enforced canon. Like, people were just following the rules and keep saying this is what it is and this is how they act. But I don't even see that, even with recent books. I don't think they enforce its canon. So it's, for me, it's a little bit hard to believe to a certain, and I disagree a little bit, as, 40k right now has more established lore. I kind of doubt that, because then again, we're looking at GW and Black Library authors where they're just publicly saying, yeah, we will do whatever we want, even with Warhammers for everyone. So it's kind of like, do they really want to set quote unquote established canon? Because they want, like, even with the Fem Studies, even just recently, I don't think that is the case. And yeah, no, the more important thing is that if they don't enforce their, the established rules of canon, then, as you said, what's the point? Rules is fine, but it has to be enforced, like from writers and GW and all that. But I don't think they even do that either.
Yeah, that's because there is very poor oversight when it comes to the Lord of Games Workshop. Like, for all the faults I can give to some other writers, like in the case of George R.R. Martin, that probably hasn't written the book everybody is fucking asking for like the last 10 years, just because people keep asking him. The main problem with it is, like, even he knows that to be a good writer, to have a good story, you need to have established events and established rules inside the universe. Because, like, as I always say, if you can just change everything, then it means that everything is meaningless. Like, oh yeah, Armageddon was almost destroyed with the third invasion of the orcs in the Second War for Armageddon, which technically Balor is the third, because the first one is actually a secret because it was Angron and the World Eaters and such. Okay, yeah, it was almost destroyed. Okay, now it isn't. That war never happened.
Yep,
the book becomes completely fucking useless. Yeah, no, that never happened. Grimaldus who? Yeah, and
never heard the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't really works like this. So, like, for all the faults I can give George R.R. Martin, that he's never probably fucking going to complete the A Song of Ice and Fire series, at least even he understands that the most important part of world building a universe that makes it believable, relatable, and that makes people invested in it is a timeline of events and rules that follow a canon. And to that level, in fact, he decided that he took, like, the most autistic fan of A Song of Ice and Fire, which is, like, the curator of a good chunk of the A Song of Ice and Fire wiki, just got, like, his personal email, and while he's writing, if he has doubts on an event, he just writes to the guy. Yeah, I'm writing on this. Do you remember, like, what happened in this specific book, in the specific events? The guy goes, answers, and George R. R. Martin keeps writing from that. So he took pretty much the most autistic and well-knowledgeable fan of 40k, and uses him at least as a consultant for consultant for his own books, because he knows what happens, he knows in what order the events happened, and he knows specifically how they went. So he can just, like, George R. R. Martin can just keep writing and at the same time not get stuff wrong, because the moment you get oh fucking Christ, the moment you get stuff wrong and the moment you start like misinterpreting or changing the events as to happen, you create a canon, like a canon conflict. And at that point, people will ask, is this the truth or is that the truth? And you will have to answer. Like, you cannot just leave it completely fucking in the air, because if you leave it completely fucking in the air, people will start thinking, okay, if you don't know what the fuck you're writing, why should I care about it?
Yeah, just like the Psychic Awakening, that the Sisters of Battle just somehow had psychic powers in an Necron world. And I want to go fucking jump off a cliff. That's fun. You know about that one, right? The Psychic Awakening, the book series during 8th edition?
Yeah, they just started, like, just the Sisters of Battle started using, like, miracles on Necron worlds, and, like, there was Luetin trying to justify it with the fact that oh yeah, maybe they're not psychic powers, maybe they're a different kind of power that doesn't use the warp. It's Emperor Miracles, the Emperor was a psyker, it's a warp power.
Look, I'm taking from Adeptus Ridiculous years ago. Worst shit ever, but hey, look, I think they are, to a certain extent, in this point, correct. The writers just fucking write a MacGuffin that we don't know what a MacGuffin is. like somehow the sisters evolved their psychic powers from this MacGuffin, and then just works. I don't think we're ever being told what it was, but it's,
no, we are not told. In fact, it was not even mentioned in Luetin's video. Like, generally, I see a lot of people trying to justify fucking shitty writing from Games Workshop, and I think this is one of the reasons Warhammer is going in the shithole, which is they are not held accountable for their own poor products. I think if people started holding them accountable, like, to their own narrative a lot more, I think things would have gone very differently when it comes to 40k, because, like, for the new video, I'm reading a bunch of books of 40k. Some are new, some are old. Because people are listening to this, so they won't have the thumbnail in front of it. But the next video is on the origins of the Emperor of Mankind, because with other autists of our Discord, we started putting up a theory, and we started that it was actually backed up by various events in various books. But like one of the main books I have to read, that it is actually the first one I'm reading for the video, is Belisarius Cole: The Great Work. And trust me when I say it, I even told the people on the Discord I'm working on the video with for the lore and such. I don't want to fucking read this book. I'm doing it just for the video, but I don't want to fucking read this book because like I can stand good characters like I don't know, like Grimaldos, like Lieutenant Mira and such. I can tolerate pretty much fucking stupid shitty characters like Tauro Valiakesh just for the laughs because they're fucking ridiculous. But I cannot for the life of me tolerate Belisarius Cole. Belisarius Cole is not a fucking character. He is a plot device on spider legs.
Yeah. But it almost sounds like from because I was trying to pinpoint like why most people hate Primaris, because to a certain extent I was trying to make the argument of, you know, Primaris doesn't break the law. Like, people trying to say it breaks the established law. Well, you gotta have to acknowledge Rogue Trader, that kind of thing. But I don't think Primaris breaks the lore. But like the way they explain it is like, oh, you know, ancient technology from the Horus Heresy, waited to be awakened kind of shit. Now, the idea is not bad. I think most people were just pissed off just because, one, it was shoehorned, and two, poor fucking writing. I had to look at it. I had to look at it back myself as well, because I was like, was I really mad because Primaris was breaking the lore, or was I mad because of the shit writing? And I think it's more of the second one, that the authors were doing such a shit job, just out of the blue, just saying, yeah, these Primaris are here, yeah, they just exist, and also, what 60% mortality rate when you go from Space Marine to Primaris? That never existed. That's technically a retcon in a shorter period of time in 5th edition. That was fun.
I mean, technically they retconned everything about the Primaris. Like, they retconned their introduction, they retconned their lore, they retconned even what the Primaris are different from the main cast of normal Space Marines. Like, do you know that for a period, it was written in the lore that the Primaris Gensid was so pure, it pretty much deleted all the fucking courses that various chapters were suffering from. And when people rightfully started pointing out to Games Workshop, wait, then what the fuck are we playing different chapters as? Like, we're just playing recolored Ultramarines now. Thank you, Games Workshop. Games Workshop went, oh, yeah. So sorry. Actually, we wanted to say that they diminish a lot the prevalence of those courses because the Gene Seed is more pure. But no. Look at that. They're coming back. The courses are coming back. Look, the Lamenters even now suffer from the Black Rage. Like, yeah, this is very poor fucking oversight, and in general, the Games Workshop lacks an understanding of what people really want to read, because, like, just look at how much they are retconning what they write in the new lore, not even the old one. Like, I don't remember if it was even, like, I think it was the Dark Imperium series, where they had to retcon the timeline of the Crusade, because like it was too long and it was passing by too many events and too many characters. Like, if we go by the old timeline, like I don't remember if it was the Indomitus Crusade or the Terran Crusade that lasted a few centuries.
It was the Indomitus Crusade, I'm pretty sure, because they were trying to fix something with the timeline. They even did a video interview of that, but please continue.
Yeah, and when people like started asking, wait, it lasts a few centuries, so like the Saga of Ascane series, then it's over, because like Saga of Ascane is dead of old age now. And his worship went, oh fuck, you guys are right. And oh no, okay, we will retcon the books we already published. Now it lasted just a few decades. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, as I was looking into it, like, with the 40k no canon from the start shit, yeah, it drove me fucking insane at this point where I'm just like, oh my god. So, it's almost like a, what's the word? Like, oh, nothing really matters kind of behavior. Nihilistic kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of made me like, fuck. What's the fucking point going for new books anyways because they're gonna retcon something. I have a suspicion they're gonna retcon something in 11th edition because they already have done like 2 big ones, which is the Elder, the way they craft shit. They don't use Wraithbone, they just use normal construction shit for some reason, and then the Femstones being the most obvious one. I think technically the squats or the Leagues of Votann from 9th edition is technically a retcon because they didn't exist. Oh well, they existed, they didn't exist, and now they existed again.
Yeah, and like their first book was such a mess that I think they won't get another one. So good luck, they're going to be retconned again in an edition.
It's funny because I got like a small combat patrol of them, kind of like them, but at the same time the images didn't make it. I think it wasn't appealing because I'm on that mindset of the 3rd and 4th edition kind of look where it's just so metal and make it real grimdark and shit. I get it, black and white images, but even if it was colored, I think it can do it proper justice as well. But it's just weird. I'm going insane with this 40k had no canon from the start, and it's kind of funny because I did like a video talking about how to start in 40k and shit. Well, as I said in the intro, you don't, but I just give my perspective of yeah, you go. This is what you do. So that is just me.
No, generally I just think like retcons can be used, but they are a weapon to use very sparingly, and they are something that the more you do, the more you devalue your own universe. Like, yeah, there were various retcons in the past, there were various retcons that happened in 40k, but the amount I have seen just for 9th, 10th, and then I will see, imagine, for fucking 11th edition, has been so fucking massive that by this point I'm just convinced that the quality control for Games Workshop is just like 3 opossums in a fucking trench coat. Because it doesn't make any fucking sense that they are claiming a thing and then 2 months later when they realize they fucked up something else, they just go, oh no, yeah, actually we changed what we think. Like at that point, fucking Christ. Like I don't say I will do it for free, but fucking Christ. I'm not the only fucking autist of 40k. There are people that have made 40k their entire personality. Like even Pio understands more than fucking 90% of the writers of fucking Games Workshop. Just call us! Like, oh yeah, we want... Here, write this. It just says that you cannot say any fucking shit we discuss. Okay, good, let me write it. Okay, we are planning to do this. Are we fucking up? And I will, like, give you a fucking list of whatever you fuck up. Like that. Like, generally, it has arrived to a point where, like, I have contacts with some people in the Italian community and such. Gladly, the Acete Fascicoli, which is the main company that publishes Games Workshop stuff for now in Italy, uses as the main consultant, main translator. Probably one of the biggest fans of 40k that has ever lived in Italy. Like, my level of expertise, but nice. More years of experience and such, more readings, more experience with editorial process and such. The guy doesn't just translate the books, he corrects them. There was a book written by Dan Abnett, I don't remember which one because we discussed it some time ago.
Yeah.
And pretty much what happened was the book was pre-Lore Solar Macarius and pre-knowledge of the Tyranids, but still mentioned both. The guy went, okay, yeah, in an interview, Dan Abnett even said, yeah, I kind of fucked up because, yeah, it was a century before Macarius and half a millennium before the Tyranids, so I shouldn't have mentioned those. The guy went and corrected them. The Italian version is more lore accurate than the English one.
Yep, shocking. Who would have thought? But I think I'm just bought into this mindset of, hey, Games Workshop doesn't care because they're too big of a company to the point that they're mainly focusing on quantity than quality. And even with their editions, where I've spoken to people who even play tested in the editions, they don't even fucking listen to them. They just they just grab the YouTube channels that would just promote their sloppy fucking edition on tabletop. So I wouldn't say any different. I wouldn't see any different with books as well. Because how many writers they have in Black Library? 61 or some shit.
I will say that's like 59 too many, if you ask me.
Yeah,
but yeah, generally it is very much a lack of oversight when it comes to quality of the product and the narrative used for for 40k and such. Like, just to go back to like to the main topic, the definition of Grimdark. It is why I think the Grimdark aspect of 40k is so lacking in the new novels. And to be honest, by reading the great work, it is fucking annoying me, because like there is the chapter master of the Sides of the Emperor that is just pretty much just jerking off the Primaris every fucking chance he got until now, and he's like, oh yeah, we are the past, they are the future, we are a failure, they are the new, like, have a bit of fucking self-decency, chapter master. I can understand like that you weren't able to defend Sota from the Tyranids, but you guys at least fucking tried. Like, by the time you were like fleeing the planet, less than 2 companies were alive. I can understand, like, oh yeah, the Primaris actually saved us from going extinct, but have a bit of fucking self-respect on your act. Like, Jesus Christ. And yeah, it is why 40k is losing the Grimdark, in my opinion, and it is becoming more like Grimdark hopeful universe, and not just Grimdark, where
Noble Dark, as people call it.
Yeah, Noble Dark, and yeah, I don't like it. Like, not because like I cannot deal with gray, like gray morality, because like one of my main points when I discuss 40k is always you cannot judge people as good or bad. You have always to see things in context. Like there are people, oh yeah, the Months of Shame, the Inquisition fucked around and found out. I mean, I can understand that it is in part what they did, because they started annoying the Space Wolves more and more. They should have gone the more diplomatic route and explained to them what would happen if the survivors of Armageddon would have fled. But at the same time, they had a fucking point. If knowing that chaos exists, and if knowing the name of a chaos god can corrupt you and there is no way to escape it, yeah, you are not leaving the fucking planet alive after you fought Angron. Like, it makes sense that they would... like be in be in contrast. Yeah, it makes sense that they will be in contrast for this kind of view, but it is what makes it interesting. There is no right or wrong. There is, do we kill them because they might fall to chaos, or do we leave them alive because they survived a war they fought for the Imperium? Like, that makes you question stuff. Instead, when you go in the new 40k, it is always, oh yeah, Gilliman said it, so it is good.
Yep. Or people try to portray... it's politics. Yeah, people try to fucking label real life politics into the thing, like Imperium bad and these guys good, and I'm like, please shut the fuck up, please. It is
what I actually discussed in my video, the Imperium are the good guys of 40k. I don't know if you watched that one, but pretty much what okay, what that video does is it goes into specific history and events that happened in the 40k universe when it comes to the Imperium men and the human race in general, to explain in detail why the prejudices they have now were born, like against AI, against aliens, against chaos and such. But I don't do only that, because like, yeah, that is justifying the hatred the people in 40k have for various stuff, because they weren't like, they didn't woke up one morning, oh yeah, I think I kind of hate space elves now.
Yeah,
like, it is not what happened. Yeah, it is not what happened. There is a lot more to the story. But, I mean, it would have been completely justified, because the Eldar fucking suck, but it is not what happened. Like, generally, what people really fail to realize is that the hatred that exists in 40k is not something that came out of nowhere. It is completely fucking justified when it comes to 40k. And when you actually compare it to what happened to the other races and why they are assholes, you actually find out that probably the only one that are really justified in being so aggressive are the Imperium of Men itself. Like, the most violent and bigoted guys of the universe are the only ones that are justified in their ways. Because what do you have? The Eldars fucking birthed the fucking Chaos God into the universe because they became so hedonistic and violent that they decided, oh yeah, we are the dominant race of the galaxy, all others just exist for our entertainment, and started killing entire planetary populations, slaughtering entire races, doing a thing that the Dark Eldar still do, which was called the Carnival of Blood, and just on a galactic level scale, and just birthed Slanesh that almost annihilated their entire race. And now you have the Eldari that are the normal Eldars that just want to bring the Eldar race back to their own to their own peak at any cost possible. In fact, they still see themselves. Yeah, at any cost possible, and they still themselves like as the apex of all organic life. And then you have the Dark Eldars, which are pretty much the Eldars from the fall that never fucking changed their ways. If anything, they became worse. Then what do you have? The Orcs. They want to torture and kill you, and I showed various examples, even one coming from this world, like the guy that was held over the fire while his family watched just for the entertainment of the Orc war boss. And they want to torture and kill you because they find it funny, and the fact they were made just for war doesn't make them justified in wanting to annihilate entire fucking planetary populations, enslaving humans, and using them as cattle or slaves just for their own entertainment. Because, oh yeah, they don't see the bad in that. The fact they don't see the bad doesn't mean they are doing good. Then what else do you have? Oh yeah, you have the Orcs that are like the Orcs that are so violent. You have the Eldars that caused the new Chaos God to exist. You have the Tau that are backstabbing pricks, and people under the video were like, oh yeah, but they like started becoming like this only after they met the Imperium. No, the Poctrun. No. I didn't make the name. It is the canon name. I didn't make the name. I don't know why the fuck they called them the Poctrun. The Poctrun, which was the first client race of the Eldar, was slaughtered a millennium before, of the Tau, was slaughtered and killed with a genetically engineered virus to wipe them out, because their planet was too good to live to them, so their planet was taken by the Tau when they died. Oh, look at the coincidence. The Poctrun were the first client race of the Tau, and they were genetically engineered and destroyed a millennium or around a millennium before they met the Imperium of Men. So yeah, they learned extermination from watching the other races. No, they didn't. Fuck not. The Tau still see themselves as the fucking apex of the galaxy, and it is always either you join us or we will make you join us, or you will be annihilated. Like, it is not a choice you have. It is prepare to die. That is what you do with the Tau. Yeah, then who do you have? The Necrons, murder robots from the future that have a grudge against all organic life because they were born on a shitty planet and the space toads didn't decide to give them chemotherapy. So they are now, okay, yeah, organic life is a cancer, let's delete it from the galaxy. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? The Rangda that almost exterminated the Imperium of Men, like the Imperium had to deploy 300,000 space marines to fight off the Rangdan. Like, that's overwhelming force for the entire fucking galaxy by this point.
Another Horus Heresy, but it hit differently. Yeah, I saw that video. It was very fascinating.
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like, every single fucking entity that exists in 40k has always been malevolent, outright hostile, or covertly hostile against everything else. The Imperium was almost annihilated by AI, and it outlawed and now hates AI. Almost annihilated by aliens, it now outlawed and hates aliens. Almost annihilated by Chaos, it now hates Chaos. Like, what the it isn't that Jay just woke up, oh yeah, today we will be racist against, and just like turn around a fucking wheel with a race written on it. It is all yeah, it is all fucking justified by the events that transpired. No hate in 40k for humanity is unjustified. The hate everyone else has for humanity, in 90% of the cases, is completely fucking unjustified. Like, oh yeah, the aliens that just turned on humanity after humanity lost the AI and the Men of Iron and such, but, because like the humanity before was too fucking powerful and they couldn't just contrast them. Like the simple, and there are people that say, oh yeah, but there is no proof that humanity was completely and utterly peaceful during the Dark Age of Technology. I will say true, but the simple fact other fucking alien races exist when we had weapons that could shoot black holes is a pretty fucking good indicator that they were pretty fucking peaceful. Like, yeah. Oh yeah, no, we have no proof that they were peaceful. The fact the fucking orcs are alive is a fucking proof that they were peaceful. Because if it was me in the Dark Age of Technology and I saw the orcs, I would have just gone, hey, yeah, can we get just a fucking Legion of Men of Iron to kill these fucking screaming retards, please? Yeah, like, it would have just gone like that. Yeah, it would have just gone like that. But the fact that the races were so threatened by the strength of humanity, that after humanity lost AI, the Men of Iron, they just went, okay, you're weakened. time to find out, and then just started assaulting humans. Yeah, maybe like some good races went in the middle and humanity didn't leave them alone because, yeah, the usual stuff that they could be killing even peaceful alien races. But, like, put yourself in humanity's shoes. Would you take the fucking risk after everything you have passed?
Not really. Nah. No. Kill him. Kill him all. Kill them all.
So, like, generally people that try to apply this fucking stupid shit that, oh yeah, the grim darkness is still the same. No, it isn't. Like,
No.
40k has become a lot less grim dark than it was before, and if anything, it has become a fucking power fantasy, depending on the fucking writer. It depends what they're writing. Yeah, and what I'm even finding out more and more is that they are sacrificing more of the universe integrity just for brownie point from the DEI crowd. Because, like, think about it. How many fucking strong female characters have you seen in books and series and such that are not justified in their strength?
I got enough. I got so many images in my fucking folder whenever I mention this. The counter argument usually is, you're just angry because there's women in there. I just think people just refuse to listen at some point. But yes, there's shit ton.
Yeah, like, I can see, like, how that argument could be made, but at the same time, there is always to consider the fact that you cannot just be strong without any kind of motivation attached. You need to be strong because of a motivation that is attached. Like, think about, like, one of my favorite characters of 40k, which is Coriel Z. Coriel Z was pretty much the master of a forge on Mars during the Mars schism during the Horus Heresy. Pretty much Dark Mechanicus versus Mechanicum. And,
she was good.
Yeah, Coriel Z isn't strong because she's a one-man army or because she orders people around. I find her strong because when she saw that the Kaban machine couldn't be fucking stopped, she lured it in her own forge, then pretty much turned off the gravitic inhibitors, started letting the forge sink into the fucking magma of Mars, and after that, because it started over... The magma started overloading the plasma reactor of the forge. It caused pretty much a giant fucking nuclear explosion where she was killed, but the Kaban machine was stopped. Yeah, it was not destroyed because it was, like, found later, but it was stopped. That's what made her strong, her own sense of self-sacrifice for the greater good. But if you just write a fucking bratty, annoying character that is strong because she can order people around and be disrespectful without being punched in the face, which in 40k will be the pretty much the fucking norm, just like, imagine a female Cadian commissar trying to order around a Kata-chan. The Kata-chan will blow your head off the moment you try and even be disrespectful. Like, these guys are renowned because they kill the commissars that are not from their own planet because they consider them weak. Imagine just, like, being fucking disrespectful to one of them. You will get blown off the moment you do that. And, like,
right.
Generally... Yeah, and generally that is an element that is being lost, like the fact that you cannot just say somebody's strong, but you have to show why somebody is strong. And Coriel Z showed it, Tarasha Elton, the mother of Gilliman, showed it, like how many women, when you are threatened by the Night Hunter, by Conrad Kurz, will just go, yeah, fuck you.
Now that's some good shit.
Like, yeah, and... generally, it is losing more and more of the Grimdark just to elevate good elements that really were present before, but now are becoming overwhelming in numbers. Like very strong characters, good events happening, the Imperium winning constantly, good stuff happening to people in the Imperium. Yeah, no, like, can somebody fight and actually fucking struggle for something?
That's
like instead of just being it given to them.
There's a lot of elements that I could look into that, and I think one of the main parts is pretty much 8th edition, but not because of Primaris or anything. It's just more of that. It's not like they're losing their Grimdark. I think I'm going to the opinion of they've lost the Grimdark because the people who made anything before 7th edition are completely gone, and they can't know or understand or contemplate how to replicate, you know, what 40k was meant to be Grimdark. So now, because they have the new migration of fans that came from 8th edition and later editions later, they pretty much just transformed 40k to a certain extent Star Wars. Because Star Wars fans came over from the Rey movies and all that shit. That was fucking insane. And then came to 40k and they're like, this is too much Grimdark. Should be less and should have more hope, you know, those types of excuses. I don't know if you remember that type of shit when people were arguing back then. Like, so many fucking excuses where they didn't appreciate what 40k was for what it is, like, quote-unquote, Grimdark in 8th edition. Like, the artwork was fucking shit, to be honest. And, yeah, they just wanted to make it their own shit. And now, I've come to the belief that, one, they don't care, but also, two, the ones who try, to a certain extent, to make 40k as it is, they have a complete identity crisis because they don't know where to go. And it always leads back to, like, you know, 40k no canon, and they keep swapping things around, so thus, they just have no fucking idea where to fucking go, and all that. In Space Marine 1...
I mean, you can just see it, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, like you can just see it even from the new models. Like removing that recently, there was like a new model for Age of Sigmar that was more of a fucking chaplain than the ones that are being released for 40k.
True.
It was very high quality, but you just have to look at the new kits of model, especially like when it comes to the more aesthetically pleasing but elaborate models of 40k, which are, for example, the Sanguinary Guard. Compare the Sanguinary Guard artwork of 8th edition to the models they released for 10th. It is literally a Greek fucking statue of an armor with giant metal white wings against handsome Squidward, Primaris.
Yep, sounds about right. I've seen some people who were pointing about that, especially with the Inquisitor. I think his name is Cortiez.
Oh. Yeah, Inquisitor, Lord Inquisitor Coteaz Torquemada, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. The only thing I was confused of is when the fuck did he had hair? I'm pretty sure he was bald, but fucking revelation, I guess. Just so
yeah,
weird.
No, generally 40k is getting a lot less charming visually, a lot less charming in storytelling, a lot less charming in general. Like, even one of the few writers that I love, which is Guy Haley, like my favorite book of 40k, which is Dante, was written by him. I think they are a bit losing like their touch when it comes to what people found interesting about 40k, because 40k is not a matter of how much violence you can cram into one book. It is a matter of how much humanity you can cram into one book, because like the Dante book is extremely fucking violent. Children dying, children killing each others because there is like the trials and such, in violent ways. Like, it wasn't just like, oh yeah, fighting. There were people bashing their fucking skulls in during the trials. But at the same time, you explore the character of Dante. You explore the character that he was and he became. You explore his past, his present, his future, his traumas and such. Like, what made the book interesting wasn't seeing the backstory of Dante. It was what he felt during the backstory that he lived through. Like, if he was just, oh yeah, I like traversed half of the fucking desert, but I did it Chuck Norris style without drinking water, that would have been the most boring shit possible and known to humanity. But the fact that he struggled, the fact that he had to fight to even reach the starting line, the fact that he started seeing the Sanguinor before even becoming a Space Marine, because he saw it like in the desert, the fact that he made friends with some of the boys that he was with, the fact he had to almost kill one of them during the trials, like, that's what makes it interesting. It is how much you can have a character be well written, be interesting, be human, and at the same time make him be a 40k character. Because when you are a 40k character, you are either too human for your own good, or you are a fucking Marine Malevolent, which is the complete opposite side of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. What makes stuff interesting in 40k is people struggling against the evil of the galaxy while trying to do good. They have to contrast against evil to show their humanity, because they have to show that the human spirit is still there. Mm-hmm. But recently, from what I saw, it is usually a lot more toned down, and the characters are a lot more flat. Like, the characters don't have depth anymore, they're just Primaris number 27 with a different skin. And when it comes to that, this makes me very much lose interest in them. Because if you have no depth, if you have no internal conflict, if you have no struggles with what you are doing or what you have to do if you don't struggle against orders and such. Like, just to make an example, one of my favorite events in the lore was when not Vulcanstan, when Tushan, the chapter master of the Salamanders, knowing during the first or second war for Armageddon that the Marines Malevolent used a refugee camp as bait to bait in the orcs and then bombed the refugee camp with the refugees in it to kill the orcs. And like Tushan went into a fit of rage, just reached like the camp of the Marines Malevolent, found the captain that ordered it, and like the guy was without gauntlets, without helmets, like discussing tactics, and Tushan was like, oh, yeah, put on your gauntlets, I don't want to make this too easy. He put on the gauntlets, and then Tushan punched him in the face so violently that he pretty much fucking knocked out a space marine with a single blow. And yeah, that's what makes it interesting. It is the conflicts the characters have to go through. You cannot make the human characters too good and too not morally grey without losing on the opposite side, because then you are making the enemies either too fucking evil or too fucking dumb for their own good.
Or too sympathetic. You just misunderstand the character of the villain and all that. Oh, fuck, I fucking hated 5th edition. They humanized so many enemies to the point that I'm just like, look, 3rd edition. Like, for me, I'm just like, perfect. Just perfect. Threats everywhere. Humanity was just there. The products in their own environment. It's just perfect. But 5th edition and Matt Ward, where do we even start?
Yeah, the concept of Grimdark worked because you had good elements in a very shitty place. What made it Grimdark was that for how shitty the universe was, people were still trying to do good. It didn't matter if they were being invaded, genocided, killed. They were still struggling to achieve something better. Now, I can understand that maybe on some people this might be lost, but the moment they manage to achieve something so much fucking better that it doesn't require struggling anymore, you lose the element of Grimdarkness. You become Noble Dark.
I don't know if you're a fan of this book. Dead Sky, Black Sun by Graham McNeil. You know that book,
I
right?
mentioned it in the Female Marines video. Yeah, read the story.
Yeah, nah. Oh, look, that's what I was going to say. Like, are you a fan of that book, or are you just like, it's alright?
I find it interesting, but generally the fact that a few Ultramarines and a few Raven Guards were just able to fucking charge at an Iron Warrior's fortress filled with a warband and monsters of the Dark Mechanicum, and just, even with the help of the Unfleshed, just break in and destroy the Damonculabas. Yeah, the concept was interesting, the execution a lot less.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think maybe I was just focusing way too much on the Damonculaba part where they're explaining what they're doing with it, and I was just like, you know what, I can see this work. This is not too bad. But people would just take that concept and it's like, well, this is just edgy, and because this was a game for man, for the sake of man, aka Adeptus Ridiculous, aka fucking Bricky. But yeah, no, people just think it's just like too edgy or just too much and all that, just because the writer was just going a little bit over the top. But I think I like the concept because it makes it grimdark. Because the way I saw it was, Ultramarines go into the Damonculaba, they lost what they've gained, and then Euroventress, who was in the Damonculaba, I think he lost more of his himself. So, it's just me. I just think
in fact, a clone was created from his time on the Damonculaba.
Yep. Fascinating stuff. And then, yeah, obviously, go ahead.
Yeah, generally, like, it is edgy, and the writer, which is Graham McNeil, like, he's renowned for writing weird stuff. Just, like, go read the first novel of the Old World that he wrote. There was a giant controversy, because there were mentions of a possible underage gay relationship in the fucking book in Warhammer Fantasy. What I mean by underage, I mean only one of the people in the relationship was underage. Anyway,
I get it.
Like, generally, he has been renowned for writing some weird stuff at times, but at the same time, yeah, it makes sense that the Iron Warriors, also, like Chaos Marines, would have so much of a lack of a moral compass when it came in their mission to destroy the Imperium, that they will just go, okay, in what way can we make more soldiers to kill Imperials? We can do it this way, okay, good enough, let's try. Like that is the level they care about what they do.
It makes
because
sense. Yeah.
until then, Chaos was evil. Now, Chaos is just the misunderstood little kid. Like, I can understand that there is some characters that like fell to Chaos for reasons. Like one of the best characters of 40k, in my opinion, when it comes to Chaos, is Euron Blackheart. Because like, if you go and explore the Badab War, he had a fucking point in falling to Chaos and hating the Imperium for how he was treated and everything that happened. Like, yeah, he was doing very dumb stuff, but the Imperium was doing no less of it. And yeah, the interferences he received and such. In fact, I find him a better candidate for War Master than fucking Abaddon. Because at least he has a reason to hate the Imperium of Men. And the reason wasn't, oh, my daddy said so. And,
yeah, I wish Abaddon was a lot more. Sorry for interrupting. I just, I was going to say, like, I was going to say, like, I wish Abaddon was a little bit much more. I understand the idea of, you know, my father failed, so I've just become better than you. But the problem was, you know, the writing. And how they made him afterwards, which kind of like made him like a villain character, which is quite sad because even with his model, is actually pretty fucking cool. That's why most people like Euron Blackheart more, because he's actually doing more stuff, as far as I'm aware, with current 40k than what Abaddon is doing, especially with the that was that trilogy book, or In Before 10th. I forgot the name of it. It involves with the Voshtan. That another minus Voshtor, yeah, that guy, the one who was minor cares god. But I forgot the book series now. I have to look it back after this talk. Pretty much.
No problem. But generally, like, people, I think, like him more because he is more of a stand-up soldier of chaos than like Abaddon ever was. Like, Euron was not given anything. Like, when he fled from Badab at the end with, like 100 Space Marines that were left of his chapter and started founding the Red Corsairs, he had, like, 100 Space Marines and that's it. And he still has become, like, one of the biggest forces of humanity, like, against humanity in the galaxy. Like, he has the biggest pirate fleet that humanity has ever known, and it is filled with chaos warbands, mad humans, pirates, red corsairs, fallen, even fallen enemies of his are now on his side. Like there were even, I think, even some Mantis warriors that fell to chaos and now are under him, that were his former allies and now hate his guts for what he did. Like generally, he has done more by himself instead of just being given the fucking Black Legion because you got a sword and a fucking power claw. And generally, I think that at the time of Dead Sky Black Sun, when there was the Demonculaba, the line between good and bad in 40k was a lot less cloudy, because now you have people unironically believing that Chaos are the good guys. Now, I will not say that you cannot consider who you want the good guys in the universe of 40k, but at least your reasoning for considering them the good guys shouldn't be they see themselves as the good guys. Like, I had a discussion with a VTuber, which I will always quote. I never remember. I never remember. Yeah, I had a meltdown on fucking stream because she was being disrespectful beginning to end. And
VTuber? I'm just curious. Sorry.
No, I will not say the name because I want to avoid sending hate to people because generally.
Good point.
But yeah, generally she had very retarded opinions on a bunch of fucking stuff. Oh yeah, you cannot trust any of the 40k books because of the unreliable narrator. Removing that, like 99% of the fucking books of 40k don't have an unreliable narrator because they don't have an internal narrator to the story, and such. But I think the dumbest point she made was when I claimed like 100%, yeah, the Imperium are the good guys. There is not even questioning it. They are the good guys when you look at the events. And she was like, oh yeah, but when I actually read like the books, when I read from the Imperium of Men, a book of the Imperium of Men, yes, the book of the Imperium of Men will see the humans and the Imperium as the good guys. But when I read, for example, a book like from the Nargol Marines of Nargol for the Death Guard, the Space Marine Legion of Nargol, they will also see themselves as the good guys. So you see, it is a bit gray. And I was like, no,
No,
you have to
no.
still consider the fact that one side is humans fighting to let humans survive. The others is super zombies fighting to spread fucking diseases.
In other words, they are the product of their own environment. That's the best way that I can explain to people. It's like, well, why are they doing like these, like, you know, obviously in our perspective is like it's immoral or amoral, you know, what they're doing. But for me, I'm just like, they're just a product in their own environment. They got threats all over the place. What do you think they're gonna fucking do? Just kneel to the alien while they're chopping their heads off?
Yeah, but like
so.
generally, I think the writers have started trying to humanize the enemy of humanity a bit too much, to the point that it makes no fucking sense. Like recently,
Yeah.
I even made a comment. Like some people actually pushed against it because like then some books on Slanesh came out. And like they were like, oh no, they are actually pretty brutal. Yes, they are pretty brutal, but it isn't like the main line of the story. Yeah, when you're fighting Slanesh and such, you always have to account for the fact that yes, she's the god of excess, but at the same time, she's the god of excess in all of its forms. It means you will get a fucking drug addict space marine just going on rampages. You will get a guy that likes mutilating people just for the laughs. Like you will get any kind of excess. But at the same time, have you seen generally 40k and the writers and such try to insert Slanesh in anything visually?
Nope. No, they haven't.
Yeah,
even with models.
because I think that they are trying to make 40k a lot more child friendly and family friendly, and by that they are, let's say, switching from more violent, more justified disgust reaction, which it was what the audience wanted. Like, oh yeah, you don't see a Demonculaba and you just go new fetish unlocked. You see a Demonculaba and you go burn it with fire. Like generally, it is the reaction. But well, there are people that will go, yeah, new fetish unlocked, but those usually get Slanesh tattooed on their fucking forehead. But yeah, generally the 40k has been toned down very extremely, to the point that even one of my favorite kits that came out recently, which is the Night Lord's box, it was very good. But then I went on the Twitter of the artist, I saw the screenshots, and he was like, oh yeah, I had to tone them down. No, like the artist seemed a very good guy, but he was like, oh yeah, under directives of Games Workshop, I had to tone them down, because like I did them before, which was a lot more brutal, from what I understood, a lot more hanging skin, a lot more blood and such, they were breaking various decency rules around the world, and I was told to tone them down. And I was like, listen, I love these models, but you now have I'm not even asking, show me how the fuck they were before. Like, I'm very curious now. What the fuck did they mean by tone down the fucking Night Lords?
Yep. So yeah, so it does confirm a little bit to what I think of, because when I was looking at the Slanesh art, you know, like for Fulgrim and all that, and then for the Emperor's Children refresh release and all that, I kept I kept judging them. I'm like, dude, this is fucking lazy. Like, why are you putting this, you know, generic shit on the background? And then, like, for the background as well, they were putting dots all that. And people say, oh, it's I forgot the name of it, but it's meant to be the background impression and all that. Oh yeah, my background impression is just fucking dots on the background. But yeah, no, the Emperor's Children's art was just like, you almost had it, but there's some missing elements. And I think the one thing that just annoys me as well is that every fucking time they just show these Chaos Marines or new Marines, like they have fucking... They just bought their armor from CSGO factory new. Every time. And they don't show like they're from the combat. Or they don't show dead bodies either. That's the one thing that I notice a lot. I don't... Like, have you noticed any new GW art that has dead bodies? I know we're just derailing a little bit, but it's just curious.
Oh, I wouldn't say it is derailing, because we're talking of the definition and the loss of grim darkness in 40k. The last very brutal artwork that I remember coming from 40k even recently has been the artwork of 9th edition for the Chaos Space Marine Codex, where that truly was very brutal art drawn, like you see a Slanesh Marine completely fucking mutilated charging at an a Primaris Ultramarine in the fight. You see corpses hanging from war machines and such, but that is to my own mind, the last good artwork I've seen of 40k that really displayed the grim darkness of the universe itself, both in Alien and Chaos.
Yeah, for me it's a little bit further back, but that's probably because I was focusing mainly on Space Marines, and then I looked at other factions where I'm just like, damn, actually, hold up. 3rd and 4th edition, damn, they're fucking cooking. And then, 5th edition and afterwards, they just went on the downhill on that, where they just made it more family friendly, which 8th edition was the most obvious one. I don't know, for me, I wasn't kind of like a big fan of the Chaos cover art for 9th edition, and I think it's like it was a little bit gritty. I didn't mind. For some reason, they had so much like vibration of color where it looked like color vomit. And then one main thing I think it was, they were trying to show the main guy on the image as the rule of cool, instead of showing like this is the battlefield, like in older editions. I think that's what it kind of like lost on me a little bit, where I'm just like, I meant to look at the whole universe, where how cool it is, not that singular guy. And they've tried that way too hard. I don't know if you noticed that yourself.
Yeah, they are trying to centralize a bit too much when it comes to various covers. I've noticed it mainly from like the Dark Imperium, Indomitus Crusade books and such. There is too many characters front and center, and you don't see enough of the fucking battlefield or the events that happen in the book. Like, I can understand if there is a very important character for the book, but still, draw him on a fucking battlefield. Show how dire the situation is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I've shown like many times of different arts that, actually, now it comes to mind. Now I'm just thinking of where people just keep focusing on making these characters the main guy. Now, for some reason, I'm just thinking about, I think these guys have never tasted metal in their lives or seen the artwork of metal. Because when you look at old artworks, they just look very fucking gritty and metal. Because that's the usual comment that I get from old fans to a certain extent, where they're like, dude, this artwork is fucking metal. It's always they said that line, but I think they always grab it together with, it's grimdark and all that, and it's black and white. It's pretty good.
To be honest, when it comes like to cover arts, I think the peak of cover art when it comes for books is for the Elstrich book and the Fire and Blood book, which is the small sequel. The Elstrich cover art for the book is literally Grimaldus and Bayard fighting on the battlefield, both running on different sides, while Grimaldus is shooting an orc that is down with the plasma as he charges with his Crozius. Like, he's doing multiple stuff at once, but still you see the grittiness of the battlefield, the chaos of the battlefield, the blood of the orcs splattering on the ground. And it is almost the same for Fire and Blood. The cover of Fire and Blood, or Blood and Fire, whatever the fuck it is called, is Grimaldus fighting back-to-back with Ekene Dubaku, literally back-to-back, surrounded by fucking orcs as they are shooting various orcs as they fight in melee.
With the
like, that is
Lions,
the peak. Yeah, Ekene Dubaku. Like, that is the peak of cover art when it comes, in my opinion, to 40k. How they have done it recently, it is more like they are trying to establish, instead of a bigger universe, just central key characters of the universe, and making them so noble and so away from morally grey stuff that people are rightfully commenting that, yeah, it might be cool, but still, it doesn't feel like 40k.
Exactly. Yeah. That was what I was going to go with, was like, the definition of 40k kind of thing. But we went so long with Grimdark and all that. Because Warhammer 40k is about grim darkness, but I think it's also another people that people don't really contemplate because they either came from different IPs, or they were just completely new, or they only read the new editions and never read the old editions, so they can't contemplate what 40k was meant to be, as far as I'm aware. And partly this is because of Gamza, or Commissar Games as they call it. Warhammer 40k was all about like big massive battles, like Pyrrhic battles where you just fight you know, gritting teeth to the nail to the point that you won, but you have to lick your wounds afterwards because you just took such heavy losses. And that's why I usually depict with 40k. It's just big Pyrrhic battles. And the best thing I can think of is like Dawn of War. Dawn of War kind of like depicted that to a certain extent. It got a remaster, but I'm working on a video about that where I'm just like, I have something is off. just like with Space Marine 1, where they changed the orcs like colors. I kind of figured the reason behind it, because apparently it's meant to be related to the Beast Snugga shit from 9th edition orc cover art. Because now they're officially canon now on Space Marine 1. So weird shit. Anyways, but yeah, like I know Warhammer 40k is about like Grimdark and all that, but what do you think around like what Warhammer 40k should be? Because people talk about like Warhammer 40k, and then when you ask them to define it, then they get the wrong idea, because probably they're thinking of, you know, a good example, Star Wars, Marvel, and all that, and it doesn't fit what 40k should be.
I think 40k, by definition, should really be about the struggles of humanity to survive in an uncaring galaxy that is hostile not only against them but against everyone. Like it is no mystery that humans are the main characters, we could say the main faction of 40k. So generally, I just think that they should be the center stage when it comes to the story, because obviously you can more easily relate to a human than you can to a fucking orc. But at the same time, humans should still be struggling heavily, even with the Primaris and such, to fight in this galaxy, which is in an even worse state than it was before. So it shouldn't just be like, oh yeah, now we have the Primaris, everything is fucking fixed, and then the Primaris are just as shitty as the normal fucking Marines, because like yeah, now they are just pretty much a reskin of the normal Marines, like they have no fucking difference. And at the same time, they should fight tooth and nail and still struggle to achieve anything in this galaxy, but at the same time still be hopeful that they can survive in this galaxy. Like they don't have to become too awful, because at that point you lose the grim darkness. You still have to have like the thought of fuck, if we lose we are all going to die. But at the same time, you cannot just go, yeah, we are all going to die regardless, so nothing matters, let's not fight. Like, generally, I think it should still be about giant wars and battles, but it should be less centered about a continuous narrative with a single fucking character, and more about various characters that see things differently, to make things different. Like, I love Dante as a character, and I love that he has a trilogy written on himself. But a trilogy is good. Yeah, no, I love Dante as a character. I have it as my profile pic even on Discord. I love Dante as a character. I love that he has a trilogy on himself. I love that he appears in various books. But if he just becomes the protagonist for like 35 fucking books, I'm gonna drop him, because I want to see other battles, I want to see other wars, I want to see other struggles, I want to see other mindsets to those struggles. I think 40k has become too peaceful for its own good, in the sense that we now focus less on the big wars, their effects, and the struggles of the various forces that have to fight in it, and more on the political and mind and moral dilemmas of specific characters throughout books. And I'm like, yeah, I can understand that, like, maybe you don't want to kill a baby Tau, but at the same time, can we go back to the fucking battle, please?
Yeah, like what? Like, excuse me, Warhammer, not political hammer, as far as I'm aware. That's why I kind of didn't like the new quote-unquote Sisters of Battle chapter master thingamajiggy. Yeah, she just avoids politics. Meanwhile, she has a haircut of an average Californian. it's weird. I'm just like, I get the bold haircut, but it does seem like that average, like, American female that she will just write DEI shit and all that and make them so fucking, like, bitchy by the looks as well. I know looks is one thing, but yeah, people just have very subjective opinions, especially with Dark Tide. Oh, there was someone that was like, the reason they were ugly is because the war. It stressed them so much to the point that it just uglified them. I'm like, my guy, I've been stressed before. As far as I'm aware, I still look like a retard. So
no, like just to make an example of how things can be done well in this case, I will cite like the third book of the Macarian Crusade, Fall of Macarius. The third book of the Macarian Crusade is the first third is war in the trenches against humans corrupted by Nargol. It was hell. Imagine Verdun but 40k version. I loved the first part of the book because it was literally, oh my fucking Odor, we're still alive, we are losing, there are zombies on the fucking trenches, the no man's land is filled with fucking clone soldiers, we don't have any more medicines, we don't have even ammo, my shotgun has run out like weeks ago, I'm using a fucking last gun, I didn't use one for like 25 years. Like the main guy was struggling so much to survive, he was pretty much downing amphetamines as if they were candy. Like he couldn't sleep because he knew that if he went to sleep, there was the true problem that he would not wake up, would be killed while he was sleeping. That was interesting as fuck. The second part of the book instead is more focused on the politics behind the people that wanted to replace Macarius because he was too old, he was too powerful in the Imperial Man, too much of a big figure. But even that part was interesting because it was focused on the struggles of Macarius of keeping the reins of an entire fucking intergalactic crusade of dimensions unseen before, like, since the Emperor of Mankind. He was stressed to hell, he was being backstabbed and betrayed, there was attempts on his life, there was kidnappings, political assassination, so it was still interesting. It wasn't like, oh yeah, but is it actually morally good to conquer the galaxy from the alien? No, it was more like, yeah, I'm trying to fucking conquer more fucking planets. If the High Lords stop trying to replace me or kill me, I will be very glad. And and then the third part of the book, when he accepts to retire, pretty much, but he says, okay, but I want to go back to the planet of oh my god, what was it called?
Was it the part
Loki?
was it the part?
yeah.
Go again.
The part?
I was gonna say, was it the part where he went for his last crusade and then he got shot to the head and shit afterwards?
Yeah, but he got shot in the head knowing that he will die in that way. But yeah, generally, like, he was like, I want to go to Loki and finish the only battle I never won. And they were like, okay, good. Like, when he arrived, he wasn't like, okay, let's go strategy, okay, how can we take the planet with minimum losses? When he arrived, it was like, Mechanicas attached to the fucking moon like propellers for ships. I want that moon to fall on the fucking planet. And, like, he destroyed the fucking planet, then the forces deployed, there was fighting on a cracked Hive City, killing zombies inside an Hive City to reach Richter, fighting side by side with the space walls and such. And then by the end, you can understand, like, yeah, he was killed by Inquisitor Drake and an assassin by the end, even if there is probably the coolest fucking pieces of writing of 40k, which was like, yes, you wanted, yes, Inquisitor, I understood you wanted me to die in the last charge on Richter. I spoiled your plan by winning. And then he shot in the head as he's smiling. Like, the Inquisitor must have been seething like hell.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but you can even understand the point of view of the Inquisitor, because, yeah, everybody will be like, oh yeah, but he killed Macarius, he was an heretic. But when you read it into context, the grimdark part was that the Inquisitor wanted to kill Macarius, with which he was friends with, because Macarius was already dying. The rejuvenant treatment had stopped completely working, and now all the halted years that the rejuvenant treatment was keeping back were going to rush on Macarius in a matter of months and kill him. So, he was like, okay, Macarius is dying, the crusade will stop, the conquest will not go onward, but which is the best way to use his death? To let him die peacefully in a fucking bed as a senile old man that was once a great conqueror? Or is it a better story to inspire faith in the warriors of the Imperium and the soldiers that fight for the Imperium, that he died in a glorious last stand in the name of the Emperor of Mankind?
Like a narrative.
That was his plan. that was his plan. Pretty much create a martyr for the Imperium of Men, a new saint. It backfired spectacularly because Macarius was actually so fucking brilliant that when he was not betrayed, on Loki won. Because like the only reason he lost the first time on Loki was that Richter was like feeding info to that Drake was feeding info to Richter, the main bad guy of the book. And because of that, like, he was anticipating every single plan of Macarius, and he was pretty much pushing back against Macarius at every turn. It was the only reason Macarius lost. But when Macarius could not be betrayed because he told his plan to no one before arriving to the planet back, so nobody knew that the moon will fall on the fucking planet, he won. Again, so the plan of Inquisitor Drake actually fucking backfired. And at the end, he had to have an assassin shot Macarius in the head, and then he was shot in return because he was like, okay, yeah, you actually acted out of line. I think the Inquisition was like, I can understand your reasoning, but at the same time, you're fucking acting out of line, and we cannot have witnesses, so you're dying too now. And then he was shot like in the head in the same way, like seconds later. But at the same time, like, yeah, you can say Drake was evil. But you kind of understand his motives. Like, yeah, this guy is dying, but this has been, like, the greatest conqueror of humanity for the last millennia. Should we really waste his death as, okay, he died of old age? Or should we turn it in, he was so loyal and powerful to the Emperor that he died in a glorious last battle to expand the territory of the Imperium of Men? Like, which would inspire more the soldiers of the Imperium to fight to the death? And yeah, that's it. You can understand his motivations, and it is that makes it grimdark, but understandable. When you have moral conflict that applies to characters that are in one way good, but not completely. Like, the only way you can have grimdark is when no one is completely good.
Yep. Pretty much. Or they don't have a good ending.
Yeah, you have to have the reader, like, question what he's reading. Like, even on the fact of Macarius and his death. Like, you personally, what would have you done? Like, the guy conquered 1,000 planets. By logic of the book, he was, like, crusading for 25 years. He was leading always from the front. Did he deserve to die in a bed in peace? Or did he... Or do you think Drake was in the right in killing him to create a martyr?
That'll be, I'm assuming it's a rhetorical question, since lots of people will just say one thing or another. For me, I would be like...
It is a rhetorical question, but I'm asking, like, what is your position on it?
For me, I would just be like, well, Macarius served a very long time, so might as well end him as a martyr to... Pretty much, as you said, like, just spread this idea of he died in a heroic battle in order to inspire the troops to keep fighting on. Because no matter how shit it is, well, you gotta be that next martyr to defend the Imperium and humanity and all that for the next generations to come. That's how I see it, at least. I know some people are just like, oh, he should have died peacefully. Well, given in context, he was fucking dying anyways. So it will be very awkward if he just died on old age, just out of nowhere. Just imagine he just died by shitting himself or some shit. That would be awkward.
I mean, it is technically what the codexes say. Like, by people of the codexes, until the latest one, which is Imperium Maledictum, because like the main point in the video was the codexes after Imperium Maledictum officially became a source of propaganda. Because, like, Imperium Maledictum even points out that, yeah, what is the true story, we really don't know. So it was pointing out, like, nudging in the way of the fucking books and not the codexes. Because, like, it is said that he was killed by an assassin sent by the Inquisition, but nobody knows. Yeah. But, yeah, he couldn't have been nudging more into the fucking books. But, like, at that point, you make the distinction of, yeah, what the codexes portray as like the propaganda given by the Munitorum and the Imperial Administratum, which was like, oh yeah, he came back after his generals deserted him, he wanted to conquer more and more of the Imperium, but while he was coming back, he couldn't hold the shame of having to retreat from the Macarian Crusade because his generals were weak, and died as he came back of a broken heart. Yeah, that is very good and well as a good story spin out by the Munitorum, the Imperial Ecclesiarchy and such. But, yeah, it is not really what happened. Like, there is always a distinction to make between the propaganda given inside a story and the real story that happened, because like the Imperium of Man itself is full of propaganda of stuff that really didn't go the way they say it or didn't happen, and like the books are portraying events that technically you shouldn't know, because officially what you read in the codexes about him like dying in 441, when technically by the lore of the books like he died in 417 or 418, but like dates become a bit cloudy when you start going outside of the fucking territory of the Imperium, so who knows. And like generally they say yes, he came back from the crusade and died because his spirit couldn't take to be defeated.
That would be funny.
No, it isn't a matter of fun. It is what the codexes say. In fact, if you watch my video on the Macarian Crusade, which is like 1 hour long, at around 25 minutes I reached the part of the codexes, and I go, please, viewers, like pay attention to what I'm going to say now, because it is very important. After 5 minutes explaining this lore and such, explaining the lore of the codexes, I go, okay, you listened? Okay, this is all bullshit and propaganda. Let's speak about what really happened.
Let's see what it actually happened. Yeah. Nah, I saw that video, especially with the little bit animations. That was nice. Did Pio go back to Brazil now, or is he still staying?
No, yeah. In the I don't know if you watched the latest video about the Age of Apostasy, but
he was in Brazil. You called him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna put the servitor to hold Brazil for me. Yeah, she'll be alright."
Yeah, and now he's back in the basement. Now Servo Pio is the new president of the new world level superpower cyberpunk dystopia Brazil, and
as you do,
Pio pretty much led Servo Pio pretty much led the Servitor revolution. In fact, even had his own Skitari to defend him in the final scene.
I wonder what's gonna happen in the next episodes of Pio. just small episodes of Pio. Someone's gonna make an edit of that. It's like, this is Pio's story, and then just shows every single intro from every video that you did. That would be fascinating.
Yeah. The story started. Pio always asks, "How is Pio?" But they never wonder why Pio is locked in a basement.
Don't worry about it. He's just there for the sake of plot. That's it. The reason why.
Yeah, and there is a little backstory that actually is very funny. When like we were writing the episode, Pio and Giulio, because we were discussing like the video with the others, was like, yeah, but wouldn't like Brazilian people take very badly to like the comments Pio makes? Like Pio comments that like, please don't destroy Brazil, even if there isn't much left to destroy. Remember, it's Brazil. Like and he was like, wouldn't they like be offended? Doesn't this sound a bit racist? And I was like, trust me, you will see how things go. And I was right. People in the comments were like, actually the comments of Pio are very true, and he actually has more authority as our president than like the last 10 ones. So
yep. Okay, look, if you don't know what you're talking about, if you come from Brazil or from the Balkans or the Mediterranean in general, because we have our own thing, that's fine.
Yeah, but like to give my closing thoughts to the concept of Grimdark and how 40k is going, then I will have to go because still I have lunch again. Yeah, I think that Grimdark by itself is a very specific kind of narrative where you have to write dark events in an hopeful light, like. Instead of going, oh yeah, billions of orcs are going to assault the planet, millions are going to die, we are doomed. It is mostly, oh yeah, billions of orcs are going to assault the planet. We do have to defend ourselves, defend the planet, and defend the people on it. And the characters just go, we are going all to die, but bring it the fuck on, Xenos. And yeah, it is a very specific kind of mindset that the characters have, where they don't fall into desperation too much, but at the same time are not so hopeful that they will come out of it alive. They're pretty much, okay, we're going to fight to the end because that's what we do. If we survive or not, that is yet to be seen and decided. And recently I think Games Workshop is pushing 40k too much in the noble direction, where there isn't enough grey morality to have you question even your own point of view on stuff, which is what makes books interesting. Makes you question where you stand morally. Like, okay, yes, yeah, like the good writing makes you ask questions. Very bad writing answers them for you before you even ask them. Like generally, one of the most interesting parts of the lore for me was always like the part where Lord Sonomaga, sorry, where Cato Sicarius stomps down on the Tau girl during a campaign, an innocent Tau girl.
Yep.
But yeah, no, because people only know that part. But there is a context to be given. The Tau girl was actually speaking to another Marine, not Sicarius. And the Marine was actually hesitating to kill her, because it was like, this Tau is speaking with a perfect high Gothic, with even like an Ultramar accent, and like, she's actually making sense. She's like, are you going to cut down an innocent and unarmed young girl just because she doesn't look like you?
Yes.
Like, would your liege, in this case, Robute Gilliman, be proud of what you do or what you become? Like, the guy is taken aback, like, he's like, starting to question his own entire point of view on the fucking campaign. Like, a Marine is questioning his entire point of view on an entire campaign, and Cato Sicarius just emerges from behind him. Yes, he would, and just stomps her down, breaks her ribs, and just stomps her to death.
Yep, sounds
Like,
about right.
And that's like, oh, people, oh yeah, no, but Cato Sicarius is evil. No, but consider this. The Tau are renowned to make you change your ways and join them, but in the end, they do the same thing the Imperium does. Just without the being open about being racist against everybody else, because obviously the Tau are the Tau first. They are not like, oh yeah, let's think about the Vespids. No, it's mostly like, yeah, fuck the Vespids, let's think about the Tau a bit more, and yeah. Like, generally, it is what the Imperium does, but without, like, the openness of being racist against other races and species of the galaxy. And, like, at that point, though, you have to question, at the same time, like, the events. Did Cato Sicarius do the right thing, knowing the context that the Tau are literally a race that will swindle you to join their cause just to do the same the Imperium does?
Yes.
Or was he actually wrong, and the girl was making sense, and the fact that the other Ultramarine was rethinking pretty much his morals in that moment was the good thing to do. Like, the fact you can ask this question is a symptom of good writing and good grimdarkness. Because you are morally conflicted. Was Cato Sicarius in the right, or was the Marine that was rethinking his morality in the right?
Ooh, true.
That is true grimdarkness, because at that point, both sides have a point, but they will be brutal all the same about it. Because, like, yeah, like, side with one. You side with Sicarius, you are still stomping down little girls that might have been innocent. Side with the other, what would have happened? Would Davi turned against his own brothers, against humanity? Would Davi join the Tau? Would the Tau have gotten a space marine in their ranks to enforce the will of the Ethereals of the Tau race, just to do the same thing again? The same thing the Imperium did, but instead of being open about it, just go full, just go full, oh yeah, no, we are actually pretty peaceful. Until you don't agree with us, then we are not pretty peaceful anymore.
Imagine.
Like, yeah, that is the main symptom of good writing, and this is the main symptom of true grimdarkness. And the fact that 40k is becoming hyper-focused on fucking Primarchs again, hyper-focused on single characters that go on for very much too fucking long, and is making those characters less morally questionable and less deep when it comes to their own opinions on stuff and their own openness to, like, actions or events that are taking place in 40k. You are pretty much taking away what made 40k interesting. Grimdarkness is not gore or torture porn. If you want that, just go and read the fucking Cross, the comics. But if you want depth of asking if your morals are truly in the right place or not, if you want to question if some events could have gone a different ways, but at the same time when you question it, all you can picture is just things going wrong in another direction, that is true grimdarkness. That is true depth of writing, because the moment you just give a very dumb and flat character and just make it overtly powerful and overtly right in everything it does, you pretty much created a Mary Sue. At that point, start asking yourself why the fuck the sequel trilogy of Star Wars failed. Because the main character was never morally questionable, was never defeated, and was never wrong.
Yep. And then she had shit training and somehow defeated the skilled master. I'm just going to fucking throw myself out of the window.
Yeah.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
it was very fun. No, it was very fun. It was very interesting, like, to discuss the concept of Grimdark. Hope people find good reflections in what I explained, and find even themselves that they are asking questions about their own morality about the stuff I talked about. Because it is the entire point of Grimdark is that Everything is shit. On what side of shit are you on? That is the entire point of Grim Darkness.
Here's a thing, though.
And
One thing.
What?
You really expect 40k fans to be skeptical and have a brain in question? That is.
I mean, if they're breaking fans, no. If they're major kill fans, I don't even believe they have a brain. So.
Yeah, I was gonna. I'll probably leave some other questions for later, like because now you mentioned a VTuber. Now I'm just like, yes. I definitely don't have an experience on that. And I was gonna also say like, oh, next time if you have another VTuber, bring me in. They will love me so much. Don't worry about it. And, they will fucking love me.
I for sure will. Well, come on, have a good day, have fun,
No
and
worries,
good
take
night
care.
in your case because you are Australian and you live upside down. And from what
Looks
I
normal
understood,
to
have
me.
been defeated a second time from the emus. So
Second time. Fuck you mean?
yeah. I saw somebody say that like Australia lost 2 wars against the emus. I'm curious about the second one. Anyway,
Another time. But no worries.
have fun, have a good night, and have a good
Ciao,
dinner,
ciao.
man.
Take care,
See you next time. Bye.
Ciao.